Welcome to the All Outdoors Photography Podcast. This podcast is about all things outdoor photography, including landscapes, wildlife, macro, and more. The show features two talented photographers, Henry Doyle and Ryan Taylor, who bring their different experiences in photography to the podcast. The show is released weekly every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so I hope you sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. In today's episode, Henry and Ryan discuss a bit more on a personal and serious level about mental health in terms of nature, the outdoors, and photography. They talk about their own experiences with mindsets and how aloneness in nature can have positive or even negative impacts. They also go into detail about the effects of burnout and being stuck in a creative rut, and the social stigmas and dramatizations of internet culture on hiking in nature.
Welcome back to episode 43 of the All Outdoors Photography Podcast. And today we have something a little bit different.
Yes, we are going to be talking about basically mental health and its role in nature photography and what we do.
Yeah, and let's just get this disclaimer out of the way. We're definitely not therapists or psychiatrists. We're just talking about ourselves and how it relates to photography. And we think it's really worthy of a conversation. So,
yeah, I'm kind of surprised we haven't had it yet. Like 40 episodes in, and it's like never really come to mind because it is like an important thing for me at least, and just I never really like thought about talking about it on here.
mm-hmm. Yeah, me as well.
Yep, but that's why we're here now. So
yeah.
It works out. So,
Okay.
okay. I think it's gonna be such a damper of an episode, but hopefully we'll keep it a little more at the end at least. But yeah, so yeah, it's not really. This is just our own maybe I don't know, our own experiences of what we feel about the situation. But like you said, Henry, it's not like we're gonna like teach you take what we say with a grain of salt. Like you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean I don't know. Like what ways has nature like in the outdoors affected your mental health? Good or bad? Hopefully good at least.
Yeah, so do we want to both start with good and then maybe we'll get into the bad?
Sure, yeah, that works.
Okay. I guess I'll go ahead. So good, nature's, helped my mental health extremely. There's very little bad. It's mostly good.
Mhm.
I've always loved nature, but I especially, once I started photography, I appreciated nature even more, not just because of the photography, just because I was spending more time out in nature. And I mean, it's really great for me. It's therapeutic. You just go out there, forget about whatever's going on, and just take photos. Like I just get in kind of a meditative state when I'm taking photos. It's kind of like my form of meditation and relaxation. It's been great for me, especially during the pandemic. I would go to a local park, many times a week, sometimes every day. And, it was safe from COVID, and it was just, I could just take photos. They weren't the greatest photos because it was, a small park, but it was great to be out in nature and just kind of escape the house. And, I continue that today. It's just great for me. So.
Yeah, I'd agree on all fronts there. I mean, it's definitely gets you out and kind of into the flow state. If you ever heard of that, I might have mentioned it before previously on the show, but just yeah, you get in that flow state of just you're so locked into what you're doing, behind the camera or whatever. And it's very engrossing to say the least.
Oh yeah, for sure.
hmm
Yeah, you just kind of forget about everything, really. It's for me at least.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, yeah, I'd agree with that. It's definitely it's a balance, which I mean, I guess I get to a little bit, but yeah, it's just definitely there are times where I'm just so locked into it, I forget about everything else around me, which could be good or bad, I guess, depending on what it is. But maybe someone on the trail comes up behind me, says hi, and I jump. It's happened so much before,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm just so focused on this little ephemeral flower, just down the ground. I'm just hunkered down over it, or yeah, just anything like that. But yeah, it's definitely like you really hit the nail on the head with it. It's meditative to say the least to be out there and just be behind the camera and just focus on something, anything really.
Mm-hmm. And not even behind the camera too. Sometimes I'll just sit without the camera and just like, just enjoy nature, like it's
Right.
it's just nice. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, it's honestly some of the best times I had were without the camera, which nowadays I try to make not most, I say at least a quarter or a half of my, like, I guess, excursions out in nature to be without the camera, without the DSLR, that is. And yeah, those are sometimes my favorite times because I can actually just focus on like the birds around me if I bring my binoculars, or just like instead of getting so locked into just taking like a cool photograph and being in like what I call photo mode, I'm just out in like I guess nature mode. I'm just focusing on what's out there and just letting I don't know, just enjoying the moment, I guess overall.
Hmm. Yeah, I really enjoy that as well. But I'd say like my favorite part is when you kind of get the good mix of both enjoying nature and taking photos. For like taking photos, you still you take great photos, but it's just kind of like an automatic action, and you're just kind of enjoying nature, and photos are kind of the side thing. And like if you sit out and enjoy nature for long enough, good photos will come. Like you don't have to work
Mhm,
for it really if you get into kind of that state of mind. So it's
mhm.
probably like that's pretty rare for me, but when it happens, it's really good. So.
Yeah, when it happens, it's like one of the best parts, I'd say. But yeah,
Mhm.
like let's say you're like doing like a sunrise or sunset shoot, and you like nail the composition, like you planned out thoroughly, and you can just kind of sit there and just enjoy it, for
Yeah.
what it is. And it's kind of like that nice like eases the tension off your shoulders. You're just kind of like, all right, I can just enjoy the moment, got the shot, and just appreciate it for what it is too.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, for me, it's like the good parts definitely is like the same way as you. It's definitely just being out there at all can be very healing, just the calm solitude of it. Just yeah, just enjoying my time out there, and with the camera, that's like the excuse to really go out there too a lot of the times, and it kind of is what gets me out of the door. You ever had like a really like tough time where you're just like struggling to get out, like stuck in a rut, but then like you just kind of see like the beautiful light outside, or you just like, man, I haven't touched a camera in weeks, but like you just kind of do it anyways, and you feel a
Oh
lot
yeah.
better afterwards usually. I
Hmm.
don't think there's ever a time I like regret going out, like just saying, man, I really wish I stayed home that day, because it's always ends up being this amazing trip usually, and it's really
Hmm.
just powerful, I think.
Like even when it's not an amazing trip, you're still getting out of that rut by getting out there. Because if you haven't done photography in like a couple weeks, that first time is the hard time. Then after that, it gets easy to keep going out again. So even if it's not
Yeah.
the best outing, that more good outings can come. So.
Yeah, I guess it's like how you define like the experience itself and what's like most rewarding to you. But yeah, I just mean like the actual like the physical act of going out there is enough. And like yeah, I may return home with like nothing good, or I might be excited about a photo and turn out it just is absolutely terrible. But like it's like the experience. Like well, I gave that a shot. That's kind of like enough for me too in a lot of instances. Like rarely do I actually go home just like completely bummed, like sure I might be like, man, I missed that shot. Like this actually happened the other night. I was at a new location, and a little bit of tangent here, but as I arrived, or as I'm hiking through this fairly, it's like 200-acre like little park or whatever that I've never been to before, and there's like three main subjects I was looking at photographing, like landscape-ish kind of images, and I managed to, well, I haven't edited them yet, but I think I got the two nailed down pretty well. But the third one I never got time like to get around to at sunset, so I'm like, I still left there feeling pretty great about it. Like overall, I'm like 2 out of 3, and anything at all is worth it. So like I guess it's just about how like your frame of mind is out there in nature, and like how you would define success in this instance.
Yeah. And that's important when you're. And I think that's something every beginner nature photographer struggles with. They put too much pressure on themselves to make photos, or at least I did this, and I'd be very disappointed if I didn't get the photo I was going after. But nowadays I've just kind of completely separated from that, and it's not like I don't care about getting good photos. It's just I don't place my happiness of an outing on that.
Oh yeah. You just can't. Like when we do like what we
Yeah.
do outdoor photography, like think about we could list like I bet 20, even 30 variables on any given day that we go out that like are out of your control, just completely out of it.
Yep.
Like I bet we could do that if I mean we don't really have to, I guess, but Maybe we could.
I mean,
But
we
I mean,
can.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Do you want
sometimes
to?
it's not. Most
Sure.
of the time, it's not even your fault, really. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I mean, like out of your control, like basically anything in weather, which is a big umbrella right there. But
yep.
yeah, just anything. Like there's so much. So
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, it's the beginner mindset. I I feel like a lot of people go through that, but it's like you just really feel like you need to get the like AAA amazing shot every time, but you simply can't. And like if you do that, I mean, if you go in with that mindset, you're probably gonna give up pretty quickly too.
Mhm.
Like it just would not work out.
Yeah. And like when you're a beginner photographer, every image seems like a good image to you, but as you start to learn more about photography, you realize that your images may not be so good. So you're kind of chasing that good image, but you don't really know what that is, if that makes sense. Like
Mm.
you're
And
trying to
it's
like,
that
yeah.
it's that sorry, it's that same like thing that also keeps you. It may hinder you from like producing more work too. If like you feel like you've made it, like you hit your peak of like these are my best photos or whatever, then you may just like stop. I'm not sure if anyone else has done that, but like
Oh yeah.
maybe, you know what I mean?
I
Like yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to hear about that if someone has done that.
I
Be
don't
kind
know
of
if this is
sad.
just my personality type, but I've never been 100% satisfied with a photo. I don't let that get me down, but like there's always something like but I think that's what keeps me going, I guess. I'm not sure, but from what I've heard from the big artists on their interviews, they're never really satisfied either. Like the famous guys, like they're well, I forget who said it, but artists are the most critical of their own work. So,
Mhm.
and that's really what keeps them going. So,
Yeah, definitely. It's like just the striving. It's like positive and negative. It's like the striving to just be always improving at your craft and everything. But it's definitely can just hamper you down over time too. Of course, if you
mm,
just are so focused on that. And I get in that way a lot. Like I'm on a constant, and it's not really like pushing myself to like I don't know. Maybe it is, but like I just always like to be doing something different, experimenting with that kind of just like the mindset of just I want to do different things with photography and not be so stuck, to avoid a rut, I guess, later on.
oh yeah, definitely. Like that's what I'm afraid of. Some photographers that put themselves in one genre box. Like someday they will get extremely burnt out. It's just
Hmm.
inevitable if you do it all the time. And what are you going to do after that? So
Yeah, definitely. I've been thinking lately about that too, actually, is that like the idea, at least this is totally my hot take of the day, but like in my head now, it's like genre is kind of like dead to me a little bit. It kind of
uh
sounds dramatic, but like just the idea of like I call myself an outdoor photographer, nature photographer, sure, but like the idea of genre is just kind of like withering away in my psyche of just like focusing on a certain subject or set of subjects because now I'm doing like cityscapes and like man-made objects, buildings, architecture, stuff with like natural history. I'm incorporating into my work, and it's like it's evolving in a certain way that's been very rewarding. But like I just don't feel like I identify in the same way I did a couple years ago because back then I'd
yeah.
just be like. I closed off those walls. I built up those walls and closed myself off, like saying like I would never photograph a fence that someone made in my shot. You know what I mean? Or
Yep.
like a footpath and like on the trail. I don't know, like just anything like that. Like if it has the hand of man in it, I don't want it in my shot. But now I'm just like not really like a worry and care, but like I'm more interested in doing that now, I guess more too.
Oh yeah, I totally understand that. You're just kind
Mhm.
of shooting what you want to shoot, and with that, you'll be happy. So, um,
Yeah, definitely. I'm not looking behind. I'm not like thinking to myself like behind the camera, like, is this a photo like Ryan would take? I'm not really thinking about it. It's more like I want to take that photo, whatever it may be. I just like I don't care.
uh-huh.
I just don't have the concern about that like label, I guess, anymore for it too.
Well, I have a similar story about this time last year when I was looking at buying like a wildlife lens. I was like, oh, I shouldn't buy this. I'm a landscape photographer. Like I was like
Yeah.
putting myself in a box for no reason. And now I mean, I'm going to be honest. I like wildlife more than landscapes now. And, maybe it's just because I'm going through a phase. Like I'm shooting what I want to shoot. And, right now it's mostly wildlife. So, um,
Mhm.
yeah, it's just you should never put yourself in a box because if I had put myself in a box and hadn't started looking into wildlife, I never would have taken the photos I have this year. And maybe I would have completely quit photography or something because I got burnt out. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I remember your like initial like hesitation about that too. Is you're like, I like the lens, and then you just like bit the bug and like
mm-hmm.
kept improving it. And like I remember like your earliest bird photos compared to now are like a completely different person, honestly. Like it's
Thank
just
you.
so you've no like you've improved so much from that moment. Just getting that acquiring that lens and everything too. And it's been crazy to see that growth there too.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just probably the reason why I've really gotten into wildlife is I just don't feel challenged with landscape photography anymore. I'm not like that's not like a cocky thing. I just like it's not like the same chase I get from like a wildlife photography, or the same
Mhm.
adventurous feeling.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the same way I've pretty much always been with nature, like photography is that, I've never like settled upon one subject. I thought about it before. I'm like, but then it's like I'll get a few good days of just doing straight like landscapes or long exposure. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'll just do this from now on. And then I remember I'll see like a really cool bird or go chase it, and I'll get some like frame filling shots. And then I'll be like, man, wildlife photography is great. I should do this from now on, like forever. And
Yep.
like I just can't, like I said, I just can't fit like it's like creative mindset. Like I just can't fit like myself in that box. Like
Mm-hmm.
it just does not work. Like I would be so it sounds stupid because like I love birds and bird photography, but like I'd be so miserable if that's all I did
Yep.
was that. Just because I'm looking at this beautiful sunset in the prairie and I'm like, man, that'd be a great shot. So like every
Mm-hmm.
day is like a different mood for me, and it always has been really. So like
Yeah.
I said lately, it's been more of like incorporating man-made stuff, cityscapes, and trying out new things that way too. So it's just like a different switch I'm flipping on, I guess,
Yep.
so to speak.
I totally get that. I'm sure with myself as well, I'll probably get back on landscapes in the fall with all the trees. So it's just really just phases. So
Maybe it's just like your landscape, no pun intended, is like just getting too repetitive, and you just aren't feeling like
uh,
satisfied by it. Because I've been that way too, is where like I wouldn't get any good bird shots for like a month or two, and I'll be like, yeah, I don't know about this thing. And then like I just said a second ago, I'll say it again, but like I get like a really great bird shot, and it just reminds me once again about how amazing those are, and like I should do more of it, of course, too. So maybe it's just
mhm.
like your environment's not, which may be out of your control, of course, but maybe it's just not suited right now for like
Well,
trying
I
it out
mean,
again,
even
I guess.
it's kind of crazy. Even when I was up in Michigan, which has beautiful landscapes, I mostly did wildlife. It was just like a thing. I wasn't like
Hmm.
forcing myself. It was just kind of like I just want to
You,
shoot wildlife, and that's what I
yeah, you
did.
felt like doing
Uh,
that more. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah.
Mm.
And that's great. So maybe you'll go back to Michigan eventually and do landscapes only. So
Yeah,
that might
I mean
happen
that's what I
too, I
did pretty
guess.
much last summer up there, and it was great. And I got the landscapes I wanted, and you know, I'm not gonna regret anything. So yeah,
Regret nothing, everyone.
no. Oh yeah, in
For,
photography,
for
regret nothing. Even if you miss like the perfect shot, just try to put it
yeah.
behind in your mind and just keep going.
Oh yeah, setbacks and everything. Yeah.
Mm.
Dropping camera gear in water, being out in
Yep.
the pouring rain. There's so much, man. But it's like I don't know. I've gotten to a point. Maybe it's just myself, like in general, but like just with photography especially, it's just like I'm just like really grateful about everything like
Mm.
that has happened and will happen, I hope. But like that's why I'm just like we talked about earlier about like you miss a good shot or potential good shot and you like get bummed out as you leave like the location or whatever. But like I like to remember like, man, I've gotten all these other great shots here or just in general. And like sure I missed that one that maybe like in my portfolio, but like remember all the great stuff you've already gotten in like your catalog. Like it's or you could go back to old images and edit those too, and you might find something new that you previously overlooked too. So just finding like the smallest, like the silliest little small things, or big or small, I guess, and just like being grateful for those too. Like drop the camera in water. Well, I still have another one.
Hmm.
Like,
And you have a
you know,
funny story to tell. So.
exactly, yeah, and
Uh-huh.
hopefully you get on video too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I guess like maybe like the bad parts about being outdoors, because like this is more of a problem, I don't know, with me, I guess, is that I like to romanticize nature a lot.
Hmm.
Like I'm a sucker for a good quote, and like if anyone follows my Instagram or Facebook even, like I love like slapping on quotes from anyone about like nature or just arts in general and stuff. And like so it's kind of like my fault there is that I'm guilty of like romanticizing like basically just talking up very poetically about nature. And like do you feel like there's like a stigma or like I don't know, toxic positivity like surrounding nature? Like as in you go to nature, you're just automatically like, I don't know, I'm cured or like I just feel better. Do you feel like that's like a I don't know what you call it, stereotype?
Yeah, I think definitely for nature in general, like especially with social media, just people think it's just easy to be out in nature, and like people think it's like a commodity, like you can just walk in and just like instantly have enjoyment. But no, I mean you have
Mhm.
to find enjoyment, like, and I guess there's just some people who just aren't nature people, like they'll just you just kind of have to like I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you have to like immerse yourself in it fully. You have to like accept the bad parts of it and the good parts, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. It's like those aforementioned quotes. They don't talk about, this like the sweating, smelly, dog days of summer. You got like a trail of mosquitoes right behind you. If you stop for any brief moment, they'll just bite you on the arms and neck. Or,
Mm-hmm.
just like anything like that. Like just the rougher parts of just being out hiking or whatever. Like, everyone's just like, oh, it's a beautiful forest floor and there's a mountain and stuff. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
no, sometimes it's downright miserable. Let's be honest. Like,
Oh
if you want to be
yeah.
straight up, it's like there's sometimes I'm out there and I'm just like, this sucks. I'm like tired. I have a headache. I'm hungry. I'm miserable. I'm not getting any shots, and it's just like I hate it. Like,
And yeah,
you
and
know,
it's dangerous too. I mean, I
yeah.
I was on a hike with some family on the sand dunes of Michigan like last week. And there was this cliff, and I legit fell off the cliff. Like it was a
Jeez.
25 foot drop. I landed like inches before like sharp boulders. I literally I would have been killed. Like I'm not kidding. Like
Jeez.
it would have killed me. Like I slid off a cliff. Luckily my mom didn't. She was like right next to me. Nature's a bitch sometimes. So I'm gonna be honest. It's uh it's dangerous, and you don't want to underestimate it, and definitely not romanticize it. Like you see the people in the Grand Canyon standing on those cliffs, just with their selfie sticks, and they're romanticizing it, and they're spreading that romanticism.
Yeah, man,
Which
I'm trying to hear that though. That's pretty rough.
I was
I've
good.
had a
I mean,
few.
I was completely fine. A small scrape on my leg, but I was just like inches from death, like legitimately.
Yeah. Ugh,
Mhm.
man,
Well, it's just
that's rough.
these sand dunes. Like they change so often. Like I went last year and they were completely safe, and then this year, I couldn't even see the cliff, so I just basically slipped
Mhm.
off of it without even seeing it. So I was on trail too, so it wasn't like I was like doing anything reckless. It was yeah,
Yeah, it was
it
just
was
like slippery to begin with, I guess.
uh
Yeah. Ugh, that's rough, man.
huh.
Ugh,
It's kind of
there's,
funny though.
I guess now, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's like, yeah, it's all of that and just like the hiking itself. If you do have to hike like a big location to get somewhere, or
Mm-hmm.
if you're just like, out there exploring. But like I remember like we had some pretty good snowfall this past winter, and like I slept on some it was like snow spikes onto my boots, and I had to like trudge through like probably over 5 6 miles, and like probably like shin deep, almost like knee deep, honestly. I felt like at some points, snow. And it's like, you imagine how heavy that is to go through snow like that. Like, it's not like just a, casual walk in the park. That's like you're lifting your entire legs like up and down a million, repeat, rinse, repeat. But like, it was so exhausting too. And I really didn't get, if I recall, not like any real shots that day too. It was
Mm-hmm.
just like, man, this sucks.
Yep. And I
It's
think
like,
you
go ahead.
you like if you're on a trail, popular trail, you'll hear hikers complain, like almost guaranteed every trail, because like, oh, the view's not good enough, or there's not a view, or just why the heck am I doing this? Like
Hmm.
it's just
or or people that are like ill-equipped. Like I feel like you and me are very like knowledgeable about what we're doing, but like I've seen a lot of just hilarity and just people in general, like just like wearing flip-flops,
oh my god, yeah.
like shimmying up like slippery rocks that
Uh-huh.
are wet next to a waterfall. I've seen so many goofy
Uh-huh.
things that I'm just like I don't know. It's just silly stuff like that, and
Well, that reminded me. I'm sorry for all the personal stories, but this summer in Yosemite, I don't know if you've ever heard of Vernal Falls, but
Maybe.
it's one of their biggest waterfalls there, and there's this huge hike. Like it's a 6 mile hike, and you have to climb like straight up the waterfall pretty much on these granite steps, so they're slippery, and you need hiking sticks and all that stuff. And we got up early to do it, like 5 a.m. And then as we're coming down, we see these families with like 3-year-olds, and they're wearing flip flops, and you're just like, they're not going to make it up, like. And that'll leave them with a bad taste in their mouth for nature. You just have to be well prepared for it. So
that's so embarrassing. Yeah, I bet if you like stop right there and wait, like they'd be coming halfway down pretty quickly soon after that. Yeah, I mean, like I don't want to say like we were perfect. Like I definitely wasn't at first. I mean, still not really, but I mean, I never like did any. I've never really done anything that stupid. I mean, like crossing rocks in a creek, maybe. I've waded through some creeks, but like never anything like too rushing water that would like I hope not like swallow me, you know. But yeah, it's just I don't know, just being smart about it. But yeah, it is kind of sad, I guess, when people I know, yeah, like you said, read these things online or in social media, and then they go out there and it's just like not that at all. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the point. Like I find it pretty humbling, like to remind myself every now and then, like nature doesn't need us, but we need it. Like they don't like nature doesn't care if we're around. It's pretty much I don't want to say perfectly fine on its own, but like it doesn't really need us that much.
It'd be better without us.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. I mean, we do the people that do help out with conservation and like that stuff. I mean, that does make a difference, but like on its own, like it really like the natural cycle of seasons and like nesting season and just everything. Like it doesn't need us really too much.
If you think about it this way, without people, we wouldn't need conservation. So interfering with nature.
Ooh, dude, I like that. No, that's very true though. Yeah, because a lot of stuff is from like invasive species that are introduced in most cases because of us. So it's like our fault too. There's just so much to it, but
yeah, and I think almost with the kind of the stigmatization or toxic positivity that also applies to nature photography itself. Like beginners will go out, and I did this all the time. Go out and just like we talked about, expect good photos and not get them, and then maybe quit photography forever. Because I mean, I think there were definitely times when I was a beginner that I was ready to quit because of bad photo shoots. But you just have to get past that.
Honestly, I would agree, but I don't think I really like had that. Like I feel like I'm just like so nuts of a person. I would have given up years ago, but like I just don't like I just kind of shake off the losses. I don't know. I'm not like trying to flex, but like and especially early on, like when I was just doing it for fun, simply, it was just more like an innate like curiosity. I was never like hoping to get like I mean I want a good photo, of course, but I was never like it was more like just a curiosity of just like let's try this, and then I take the shot and review it, of course, or whatever, and edit it later on. But it was never like I took a shot and I was just like, oh, I don't like this, So like I don't know. It's I was always like a thirst and a hunger for like curiosity of like what's out there and what I could capture with the camera. It was never I don't know. It was never like really like I mean, there's I'm not like downplaying it, but there's been a million moments throughout my whole like career, so to speak, where I was definitely like, man, I don't know about this. But like I don't know, maybe it just takes a certain kind of person to like persist through all whether you might want to make it a business or a hobby doesn't matter, just like a million different things that could happen and arise, but like you still got to be persistent if you want to like improve your craft or make a business out of it, of course, too.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely like there were times that I wanted to quit, but then like I would go outside, I'd see something and be like, I'm not quitting. Like it was very temporary if it did happen. Of course, it happened in years to me. Nowadays, I just I can go out on an outing. I can go out on like 5 outings in a row, not get photos, and be totally fine with it because I know there's more to come someday. I don't know when or where, but I know there is. So.
But there's okay. Well, I'm gonna play devil's advocate, but like, would those 5 days in a row like affect you in any way, like your motivation? Like, would you just take a break?
Not anymore. I like seriously, like, not anymore. Like honestly, like,
really?
it's just I'll get good photos at some point, so why worry about it, you know?
That might be one instance where like if I went out like for 5 straight days and like I feel like this is really, really rare. Like I feel like I would find something I'd be happy
Uh-huh.
with, like taking home, but like photographically speaking, but like yeah, if I just like had 5 straight days of just nothing's happening, I don't know. I would probably actually just take like a mini break or just
Hmm.
like put up the camera because I honestly, and we'll talk maybe in a moment here, but like about burnout, and I would just get seriously burned out, which has happened before, of course, too.
Yeah, I mean, of course, if it was like a trip or something over 5 days, I'd be probably very sad. But you know, if it's just kind of a regular outing for me, I think I'd be fine. And I don't know, like I feel like even if you don't get good photos, you always gain something, no matter what it is. Like you
Hmm.
maybe gain more knowledge about the location, which can be very valuable. You could maybe find a nest or see a tree you want to shoot in better light, or um, I don't know, just like find some piece of knowledge, or you know, maybe even learn something about your camera. Maybe you didn't get a shot, but maybe you learned a new setting on your camera that will help you get that shot the next time. So there's always something you gain. It may not be obvious at first, but there's always something, I think. So
Dude, I 100% agree with that. Like it's never, yeah, it's not always gonna be like something material like a good photo, but like in my on location videos, I explain this a lot because there's been a number of videos I'll consider like filler just because I don't get any good shots. But like usually I end the video on like, well, I did, check out this new location and I'll come back for future visits and get, hopefully some more images or just, I'll explain why things didn't pan out the way they should have or how I would have liked. But like, yeah, it's definitely about like you gain more out of it just than just like the image itself, like the experience. Like you said, you like learning more about the camera setting and just there's so much more to like nature and photography than just like the photo itself, you know?
yep, definitely. And if
Hmm.
you gotta pretty much everybody starts out like that, you know, looking for the photos, but you got to get past that, or you'll just stay where you are, not progress. Uh, and, you know, you'll just be stuck. Really.
Hmm. And it's like, and like we mentioned earlier about having like the camera free hikes or days. I found like, well, I mean, sure, I do pass up a lot of good opportunities. Like, I'm like, man, that light just hits that, footpath just right. Or like, there's a cool bird that just landed like a few feet in front of me. And like, I don't have my camera or anything ready with me. And it is a bummer, but like, I feel like this has been a real big problem for me. Or it was more so in the past, but like, nowadays I'm a little bit better about it. But like, it's just letting go of like, the need to always get a photo of anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's why I do those camera free hikes a lot now, is because I do need to like shut off that switch that never really shuts off truly, but like just kind of ignore it for a little bit and just enjoy just being out there, outdoors and stuff. And not get so wrapped up in the photo because it's like you can't like, like the burnout thing. It's like you just can't take that photo. You can't always take photos, I guess. And I honestly find that like the camera free hikes I'll do, I feel like my photos get a little bit better because of it because I do just kind of relax my vision, so to speak, and not always focus on like how would the camera look with this, set up here and this stuff. I can just like look at it as it is, like purely whatever it is, a landscape, a flower doesn't matter, and just see it for how it is.
Yeah, that is. Oh my god, voice crack. That is that is probably the best thing you can learn about photography. It's not even about directly photography, but once you learn to do that, you'll just really improve in all aspects, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. I've always said it's like I tell people um, like non-photographer people, I guess, like just coworkers or people I know, friends. And I'm like, it's really not. I mean, it is about photos and cool stuff I see, but like, it's really not about that. It's like more about me as like growing as a person, like alongside it. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's always about like for me at least, there's like a bigger picture to all of this than just a camera and whatever. Like it's definitely a bigger thing, I think, and I feel like a lot of people can identify with that too.
Mm-hmm. Because it's not like a linear path we're following. Like it's not like there's some end goal. Like you and I will
No.
definitely do. I mean, unless something horrible happens, we'll probably be doing photography our whole lives. So, you know, there's not like an end goal to it. It's not like we're trying to like I don't get the best photo ever and then quit. It's just a constant
Yeah.
pursuit. So you can't just race after everything. You just gotta let things happen, really.
I don't see it like an end. I mean, I don't see like an ending to it, like
No.
honestly, unless if I did just like wake up one day and go like, you know what, career path switch or whatever.
Uh,
But like, I don't even see that happening either, at least right now. Like, I don't see a
uh,
point. Like, it's just there's so much you can do with it, but like taking your time with it too, and not like trying to just be like the tourist or whatever, and just
mm,
be always like, I need to go here, go there, go everywhere, and just always trying like stuff. I mean, like I
mm.
feel like hustle is pretty important, but like it's too much of it's also really, really detrimental too.
Yeah, I mean, I think hustle is very important if you're trying to build a photography business, but when you're out in the field, you don't need that hustle, right? Because you're just that's not how you get good photos. Sure, when you're on the computer and maybe trying to market your photography business, sure, do you need to do some hustling, but out there you don't. So,
Unless if you need to quickly hike to the other end of the location before
uh,
sunset.
sure,
That was me a few nights ago. It didn't work out.
yeah,
Physical
or race for
stamina
an
is
eagle.
important.
Yeah,
Oh, that, yeah.
I was like sprinting to get towards
Oh,
the eagle.
geez. Probably got scared off, man. Geez.
No, he was. I knew this guy. He doesn't get scared of anything. He was on the public beach.
Nothing scares me. I'm on a beach.
No,
That's
no,
great.
seriously. Like there were people like yelling at him, and he wouldn't fly away. So.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, so I keep mentioning it, but I feel like it's important to talk about, like, in its burnout, with like, and this is mainly pertaining to like probably people trying to make a business out of it, but I guess anyone could have this, like anyone that's like photography and creative, stuff, I guess, pursuits, but like burnout for me is a really, really bad thing, and I still struggle like supremely bad with it because I just don't have like I said earlier, I don't have like an off switch for any of this really. Like I'm always doing something. I got like I think last week I had like 5 videos to edit,
Oh
like
wow.
it like videos of like various completion for YouTube, just anything like out in the field, some editing stuff, some just whatever behind the camera stuff, and like various states of completion that I eventually get to working on all of them. I never really, I'm not pretty bad about like putting stuff on hold to like just because not finishing it out of laziness. Like, I usually do finish everything I set out to do, but like I just I don't have like like a slow down switch where I'm like I need to dial it back and like I'm like, oh, I have these 100 photos to edit and I'm like I got to do it now. You know, like I said, I got like 5, 6 videos and it's like I'm pretty bad about like having so much crap and like material like piling up that like it does overwhelm me pretty easily too. So
Mm.
when I'm out in nature and like taking the photos, it's usually not that bad, but it's like the accumulation of like I just filmed 2 videos today. Example, and not this didn't happen, but like I filmed 2 videos today and I took like 100, great shots, and I have to edit all these things, and like I just get so overwhelmed with all of that. And then on top of that, like the more businessy side of it, like trying to apply for festivals, gallery exhibits, and then
Mm.
having to like write down my calendar, like, all right, I got to do this day, that day exhibit, that day festival, that day
Mm.
some other thing.
And
Even this
you have to
podcast.
worry about social media as well behind all that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just the overwhelm of like scheduling it. Like, I guess in a way, this podcast is another thing to do. But I actually enjoy doing it, of course. Don't get me
Mm.
wrong. But like just scheduling all these different things, and it just adds all this little like mini stress to every day because I'm like, what do I have to do today? And I'm like, oh crap, the light's really going to be good this evening. I need to go on that shoot because I may
Mm.
not have another week or two before it might just be straight storms and it won't be the same.
Mm.
Like there's just all these like little like you don't really like think about them, but it adds up in like these
Mm.
little stressful like episodes and moments that like builds up to burnout. And like so what I'm getting at rambling here is that like it's pretty bad for me, at least, like burnout, and I bet a lot of photographers have it. Creatively speaking, I don't really, so I mean I do get creatively burned out, like we said, the same subject over and over can happen sometimes, but honestly it's just more like scheduling and overwhelm of that sort. And then doing these exhibits and being social, because I'm an introvert at heart, so like being outgoing, I'm pretty good about. I can play that card pretty well, but like too much of it in a row, like days in a row, like just drains me, like absolutely too as well.
Yeah. I was just gonna say about like all the stuff that adds up. Quoting a guest from last week's episode, it's a full time job on top of most of us most of us also have jobs or school. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's photography may not seem like it, but you know, all the things we do, it's a lot. You know, it could
It
definitely
is.
be considered a job, and people do what we do as jobs, and you know, that's all they have to do, which you know, I'm very envious of. But obviously they work harder than us, but you know, it's similar because you know, we do the social media stuff, we
Oh
have
yeah.
events, we have meetings, you know. And you know,
Hmm.
normally it's not for a profit, and of course that's not why we do it. But even that fact sometimes could be hard because sometimes you're like, to what end am I doing this? Or at least I'm like that. Um,
Hmm.
it just kind of makes you think. But
Time management too is a big one.
yep.
Like
Mm-hmm.
especially from a business standpoint. Like, is this festival going to be a good use of my time? Is it even going to be worthwhile? Am I going to get my money back or anything like
Mm-hmm.
back from it really? Or like even like photo trips, like going out like with the camera, it's like sometimes I'm like, is it really worth it to go right there? Like right now? Like there's all these like little questions that like nag at me in my head of like what's the most important, what isn't, what should I do? But like the problem is I've become too much of like a yes man and just kind of say yes to everything. Well,
Mm-hmm.
not always, but like a lot of more often than not. And like then I just look at my schedule and I go like, wow, the next 6 weekends I'm booked like completely. And then it's like social life, what's that?
Yep.
Like at my day job, like people will be like, so Ryan, what you doing this weekend? Anything fun? I'll be like, well, I got a gallery exhibit on Friday. I got to sit the shop Saturday. I got a festival Sunday, or just an example. And they'll be like, "Wow, you're so busy. How do you do all that?" And I'm like, "I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm nuts like that. I don't know." And I'm
Yep.
doing this all on my own too, which is just like it's exciting, I guess, but kind of like scary at the same time because I do just burn out pretty quickly from all of
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yep. It's hard because then you're afraid if you drop some of those things, you get afraid that you'll lose some support or you know
Hmm.
just kind of fall back on your photography. So it's hard to you know maintain it.
There was actually yeah, a little funny story, but like a couple of weeks ago was like this special exhibit at a place I'm like a member of, but like I've never exhibited at previously. And there's like an opening reception, but I had at my day job, I would be like working during the hours of it on like I think it was like Sunday, and my manager didn't see my PTO slip, so like I just ended up working that day. A few days later, she was like, "Oh, I didn't see it. I'm sorry. You gotta let me know next time." And I was like so bummed because it's like, yeah, like you were saying, that's like an opportunity to meet people, stand by my work. Because other than that, it's just like pictures on a wall to me, or I'm
Mm-hmm.
imagining to them. Like, but if they actually meet the person, he's standing right next to them, he can talk to you about the stories, about taking them and all that stuff. Like that's like in a way, I put all this pressure on me to like go to those events and do that because of that reason. Because like if I don't, then it's like I don't know what's the point. But then someone else in that exhibit that I've known from just out and about, she sent me like a message or a picture and said like you got an award for one of the frames, and I was like more bummed because I wasn't there to like receive the award in person, but like I was just like man, I really wish I was there to like accept it, in person because it just felt so like wasted of like an opportunity, even though I still got an award. So like I don't know. I was focusing on the negative, I guess, too much there. I should have just been like grateful more of like getting the award at all for like a piece I put in there. But like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It was a weird thing I had to like battle with myself of like, no, Ryan, be grateful you got something at all. Like, be
Yep.
grateful you're actually in that exhibit or something at all. Cause like, that's enough too, Don't be so like
Mm-hmm.
mad about missing the reception. I don't know. Just like stuff like that, silly.
Yep. And that kind of ties back to missing photo opportunities too. It's kind of the same thing. Uh,
Hmm.
you can't like I you know I have a family member who's interested in doing what I do, and I showed him like all my raw files that are just you know trash, you know. And it's like if you want to do nature photography, you're gonna have to deal with the disappointment of this, and if you can't deal with that, you can't do it. So it's just something you have to
Jeez.
sign on for.
Yeah, that's funny.
Mhm.
Yeah, so yeah, burnout's a real killer for me. That's like
Yep.
probably one of the worst parts, and it really does like affect my mental health in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
Just with photography in general, really. But like, maybe we could talk about like solitude a little bit, because that's a big part about being in nature. I feel like for a lot of us, outdoor photographers, most of us are probably introverted. I would imagine. So like, we just
Yeah.
kind of appreciate the quiet, just listening to bird song and flowing streams and stuff. So like we weren't really out there to really socialize, I don't think necessarily, right?
No, definitely not. That is complete opposite of why I do photography. It's just it's a personal thing for me. I like, I occasionally, I don't often, I've gone with people every once in a while. It's nice, but what I really do it for is just to be out there in nature. Um,
Hmm.
and just, not say a word for hours and just kind of be in your own head and take photos. So it's,
Right. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely the same for me, but like I've gone on like more often I've gone on like a lot of like photo walks or photo meetups, and like those would be like decently sized groups, like 10, 15 people at most. And those can be fun, like meeting people that way. Like um I know on Kyle Owen's episode, we talked about how me and him met was actually through one of those said photo meetups. And like I would have met him otherwise. And since then we've gone on like I think three or four just the two of us photo shoots out there doing like wildlife or whatever. And those have been a lot of fun. But yeah, more often than not, it's definitely much. I don't like go out to like the local trails and go like, gee, I really hope I run into some people today to talk to them. Like
mm-hmm.
it's just not like on my agenda, like you said. But like at the same time, I have gotten more, I guess, more accepting of like people out on the trail because I just realized we're all kind of there for the same reasons, most of
Mm-hmm.
us. And some people are definitely more talkative than others. Some will just nod heads or don't even say hi back if I say hi and have like a pleasant grin as I'm walking with like 40 pounds of camera gear strapped to me. Um, but like the people that do actually like stop or are curious about what I'm doing or where I'm going, I guess, and talk to me. Like I actually do like appreciate that also.
Yeah.
Like I found a way to like be like thankful that like, they would actually take some time out of their day just to like talk to a stranger, just someone like that. But pretty much most often I'm just there as a like a solitary pursuit. Like that's the reason I feel like that's where I create my best photos. I like meeting up with photographer friends, sure, but like, and I may take good photos there, sure, but like it's not really my style, my vibe, I guess. Like I like
Mm-hmm.
to create alone and do it alone, but then like share it with people. That's why I do exhibits later on to like share the stories and how I got the shot or whatever, like later on. But like the actual process of like creating it, like I just like to be out there alone.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I feel like for me, it's more like, shooting with other people is great, but I feel like it's more the separation from the people and kind of the things you see on a daily basis that aren't photography. Like it's just
Hmm.
kind of a different world, really.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like a like I guess it's like a choice or a style I just chose early on. It was like just being like I just feel like my best work's created when I'm alone. Like I just have this entire focus on it. Like I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
imagine. I mean, I don't know. It's like I like I said, I've done it before, so like I kind of get the experience of it, and it's great shooting with people. It is fun. I won't say it's not, but like because you can share in the excitement of like, oh, there's a cool bird over there, or like you guys hike to this waterfall and you get to just sit there with your tripods and photograph it. But like, yeah, just I don't know, something about just the I don't know the solitude about it's just really what draws me to it. I guess just being out there and just having the freedom to like explore the location if I have like a shoot or like a image idea planned, just to be able to like execute on my own, like just the independence, I guess, of it is like what I'm after. But I don't know. That's just how I see it, at least.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting. Because like I'm going on like a trip with some other people, other photographers. It'll be interesting. Like if we'll be getting like the same photos, like how that'll go, and I don't know. It'll be weird because I've never really done extensive shoots with people before. So
Hmm. Not really. I mean, it's a
no.
different experience for sure. Like you
Mm-hmm.
definitely you're balancing like hopefully you take some good images, of course, but like it's also kind of like you're balancing just like socializing and just kind of like I said, sharing like the overall experience with them too. So it's kind of like several fold, but like it does feel like at times it does like break your attention and focus away from like just being so like single-mindedly pursued on this like taking photos, I guess, too.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of times where I'm like, I look over and I see like a big family coming my way, and I'm just like, and thinking to myself, like, please leave, please stop making noise. I just
Mm-hmm.
like, or there's been a few times it's been bad enough, like social anxiety, just like I will literally turn around. because I hear people coming like the opposite direction or whatever. Like just there's been some like times where I'm just like I just don't want to deal with it.
Oh yeah. Or get on
Like
your
I'm just
phone. That's what I do sometimes.
yeah, pretend to like
Uh-huh.
review images, or maybe I just actually like will review images because I'm just like
Uh-huh.
the situation. Like if I have my big telephoto, I'm like out here at like a semi kind of public park. Like the stories in my head of like how would they react to this like
Mhm.
youngish looking guy just with like a big telephoto like camera thing. Like what is he doing? Like I just like the stigma of like or I don't know, like the just the idea of like what would they think of me? It's freaky.
Mhm.
And then you just realize that most people are really not really like angry or not angry, but like they're just not like they're more curious, like I said before. Like they're
Mhm.
really I've not had a bad experience where like someone was like put me down or I don't know, or just like was scoffing. Like, what are
Mhm.
you doing, dude? Like what the heck?
Mhm.
Like everyone's been great. So like
Mhm.
it's definitely like a at least for me, it's like definitely a mental thing of just like in my head. Maybe it's like an insecurity thing, but just like because I've always kind of had that too growing up is like how people perceive me, like because I'm making myself look real obvious with all this camera gear, and like
Mhm.
it looks weird to everyone else, but like really no one seems bothered by it. Like it's
No.
it's really all in your head too.
Most people think it's really cool. Like I
Yeah,
uh
quite the opposite.
I
Yeah.
remember like a couple weeks ago this group of campers, probably like a couple of years younger than me, passed me and they're like they were all really interested in my camera and like they talked to me for like a while. I'm like, oh, they weren't making fun of me. They actually like thought I was cool. So
Yeah.
uh-huh.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. It's honestly, yeah, like I said, I don't think I've ever had like the negative experience really with
Uh,
like interacting with anyone out there. I mean, like I said, some people are more closed off because like maybe they just don't make eye contact, or like I said, they don't say hi back, or maybe they just have like earbuds in, or quite simply
mhm.
didn't hear you. I don't know. Like, and they just kind of walk by you, and like that's as bad as it gets, and I'd say it's pretty good. Like, I don't know, it's rude, sure, but like to be ignored, I guess, in that way, but like. I just, I walk with a friendly, I guess, grin or smile, and I just say hi, and that's most of the time good enough. But
Mhm.
for the people that do talk to you, this sometimes are like some of the greatest conversations because it does break
Oh
you out
yeah.
of like. Sometimes I get in these like states of mind where I'm overthinking just everything, and because like being out alone in nature for me doesn't equal like happiness, like just automatically. Like sometimes I'm out there and I feel worse, quite frankly, but like sometimes like there's interactions you have out there, just like the little light banter with people as you walk by the trail, like just kind of breaks me out of it a little bit more. I actually feel better afterwards too. So
Mhm.
that happens quite often too.
And sometimes they'll even give you like good knowledge about the location or maybe they've seen
Hmm.
some wildlife nearby. I mean, I got a guy this year tell me that there was an eagle's nest, and that eagle photo I recently posted. That's because of him. I mean, he was some random guy,
Yeah.
a tourist, but he happened to see an eagle, gave me the tip, and I was able to find it. So, don't be
That's
afraid to
awesome.
talk to people.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I mean, same here. Some of my best leads have been just people I just pass by on the trail, and it's not even like we're just like lifelong friends afterwards. Like they'll just are just nice enough to exchange information. Like kind of
Mm-hmm.
simple similar for me is like the first time I saw a wild great horned owl was someone just told it to me at another location. So I went a few days later
Mm-hmm.
and got the shot there, and I was like, wow, like it's just cool how people you wouldn't like I don't know, maybe I just like assume people don't know anything when they're out there, which is also just really negative and I don't recommend that, but like I just assume people don't know what they're doing. They're just kind of out there, and it's so stupid to say that as I'm hearing it now, but like people know things. It's like I can show up to a new location and not know a single thing, and people have gone there or it has happened, like people have gone there like every day the past couple of years and had know like the place inside out and like know everything about it, and like I show up thinking, not really thinking I'm holier than thou, but like just thinking like, oh, these people are just casuals. They don't know anything about, wildlife or yeah, like just stuff like that. And like it's honestly that's just such a like a negative, stupid way of thinking. Like people really do know stuff most of the time.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So some of them at least, but
Yeah.
it just depends though. But yeah, it's definitely it's tricky though when I'm out there alone. Is just like overthinking just things or just it could be anything like personal life or just like the photography itself. Where I'm like, it's not worth taking this photo, like just like the negative. I don't know if you have this, but like the negative self-talk of like, why bother? Like why take the shot? But
Mm-hmm.
like then you just do it anyways because it's like I don't know, like just to not let that side of you win, I guess.
Yep.
Just the side that like puts you down, I guess, more so.
Hmm. I totally get that. Like, and sometimes that yields my greatest shot where I overcome that voice and just take it. They're usually
Hmm.
the most creative. I'll say that. Like, it's something out of the box and not probably conventional for you. And it can be very great. So,
Yeah. So I guess maybe we could end on like, what would you recommend maybe for anyone listening to like, I guess, help mitigate any kind of like problems, I guess, with mental health, or like, what would you recommend, I guess, for people, outdoor photographers or whatever, people that hike, like, what would you recommend for them to help?
um, well, the first thing I recommend is don't look at your photos in the field. Like after you take them, like maybe
Really?
I get like checking them, to make sure exposure's right, but after that, just kind of leave it. Don't look at it. Just kind of continue to shoot, or just continue to enjoy nature. And you always have time to look at it at home on your computer, but don't stress over out in the field. Like your screens are so small you can't even tell really if it's a good photo or not. So just don't try to form an opinion before you can see it in the full size. And that'll
Hmm.
kind of immerse you more. And put the phone away too. Honestly, like unless you're using it, for like documentation purposes, like you know, put away your messages and all your social media and just kind of enjoy it. Find that really helps too.
Hmm. I definitely agree with both those points. Like especially the phone thing. I'm just like with this Instagram crap, like I've been doing for a couple of years now. Like I just like have that. I feel like I have that out. It's always in one of my hands. Like the camera, the DSLR, and then there's like the phone. And I'm always like, I need to take a million because I'm always just really dumping stories, like posts and slides of like photo and video on there, and it's just like I need to like stop doing
Mm-hmm.
that. Or then I'll flip open. I'm sitting at this gorgeous waterfall or whatever. And I'm like, I got some shots, and everything's cool and everything, but like then I just kind of pull out my phone, and maybe it's just like a mini break from like the surroundings, but like then I just get hung up on some person messaging me about something I probably don't even care about, and like it just like breaks like the flow, no pun intended, like the flow in the conversation,
Mm-hmm.
like just breaks my like focus, like interrupts like what I'm out there for. Like I'm not really out there to like message you. Sorry, person that might be, but like just not. I'm not really supposed to be out there doing that. I should be out there just what I came there for is like taking an image or just being out there and enjoying nature. But like here I am just like caught up in maybe like your drama or just something like business related where I'm like, hey Ryan, can you do this favor for me tomorrow when you're sitting in the gallery? Like just stuff like that. Like and
Yep.
yeah, so it's definitely I feel like it's important to be like just present in the moment as much as you can and just
Mm-hmm.
enjoy it. Maybe take a good image or two here and there too.
Yep. I totally understand that. I mean, with every generation it gets worse. With my generation, we're just obsessed with social media. Like that's everything for a lot of people. Um,
Hmm.
and it's really nice to just escape from that. Like Snapchat, text, all those things. Like people my age are just obsessed. Like that is their life. Like um, I don't have
I'm
I haven't had Snapchat for years, but I have friends who do, and it's like they're obsessed with it. And it went down a couple days ago, and they were just like so distraught. I was like, I just couldn't believe it. Like, come on,
Move
just
to
go
Twitter.
outside or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that much older than you, but like it's definitely we're pretty close in that like generational range, I guess, of
Uh,
like just social media. Like people my age are still not all of them. I mean, I will say you're probably in good news, I hope, but you are younger, so maybe it's like
uh,
it's not like I'm talking down to you, but you get the point. Like maybe your generation will be like really hooked on it in their like 20s or something, but like I found as I gotten a little bit older is like people are like they're on their phones a lot and like they like the Snapchats and all that TikTok crap and all that whatever. And but like I feel like they're on it less, which is nice too.
yeah,
So you might be
that's
in
good.
luck, but like
Hmm.
I'm holding out your age age today's adolescents. I hope I hope they aren't so just glued to the screens because it's like there's just so much beautiful scenery out there to see, and it's like I'm guilty of it, of course, too. Is like just having too many screens in front of me, the live view mode, my phone, just like so much like gear, the GoPro. If I had a drone, I'd probably have that flying around too at the same time as everything else. Like there's just so much crap that like it just kind of becomes noise a little bit, just kind of like noise, like too much sometimes. So like just shut off all these devices and just kind of, I don't know, enjoy it, because that's,
Yep.
like I said, that's sometimes the best moments out there in nature.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I even like used to I used to like document my photo trips. I just stopped now. It's just like I don't want my phone at all anymore. I can just like
Really?
throw it in the bag. I leave on my ringer in case somebody really needs me. But besides that, I'm just camera only,
Huh.
no phone. I'm just out
Wow.
there. I just gave that up. Of course, I still am on Instagram a lot, but that's only when I'm not in the field now. So I just kind of eliminated that
I
aspect of
do
it.
that, man. I do that too now. It's gotten so bad. Like Instagram's my worst nemesis because like I will check it out in the field and I'm like, Ryan, why are you looking at like I like other people's work, of course, but like why am I looking at their photos when I'm out there supposed to be making my own?
Yeah.
It's so stupid. Like why am I doing this?
It's I
And
mean it's not even your fault. It's like the serotonin boost you get from seeing a like on your photo or seeing a new
oh yeah.
follower. Like we're
Oh,
addicted to it. It's just kind of like the reality.
it's a disease on society. So bad. That's the quote of the day right there. Instagram, disease of society. And it's not a photo sharing platform, so what does that tell you?
Oh god.
So what's the point? Start, not trying to be a negative Nancy, but no, I definitely agree with you. But man, you brave soul for like not using the phone. Like I've been documenting the past few years like extensively, like everything I'm doing. Like I don't know why. I think it's OCD, honestly. Like I just need to have everything recorded, But like I couldn't imagine not having the phone and doing that,
Now I
you
will
know.
say, not to be hypocritical, but soon I'm going to start filming out in the field. I've decided I've gone through so many phases, but now I think I'm ready to start filming out in the
Like
field. But
behind the
it's
camera.
yeah, no, not
Ooh.
behind, in front.
Or
Well,
sorry.
both.
Yeah,
Yeah, in front of the
sorry.
camera.
You like
Um,
you speaking to the camera.
yeah, but I'll
Really?
try to even when I'm doing that. Yeah, I ordered like like a mount for my tripod so I could put my phone on it because I don't have like a separate video
Ooh.
camera. Um, but even with that, I'm gonna not be on social media. Just stay in that camera app and just film with that. Like I'm not gonna be worried about putting that stuff on social media immediately. Of course,
Hmm.
after I'll post it to YouTube. But just try to keep it separate still.
Okay. Yeah, that's good that you like set the parameters, I guess,
Uh-huh.
for that certain that thing, I guess. But is that like a slide mount? I gotta ask, out of curiosity.
Yeah, it's
I
just a
guess
slide mount. I already have one, but I need one that
cool.
can put a mic on top because I have a mic that works with my phone. So
Okay, cool,
yeah.
cool. That sounds awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah. I can't wait to see those then. So, I just think it's
Yeah,
neat, like that whole YouTube thing. I'm really glad I've done it overall, just because it has got me out of my like comfort zone and have to explain things to strangers or just to the camera itself because I'm still out there alone, of course. But I mean, they're really. I feel like they're rewarding to do.
hmm.
So it's a lot of work and it's kind of unnerving. Like before I start the video, because I'm like, oh, what if I trip up or stutter or like I just like stop like know what I'm saying, but like then I remember like I can cut it up, I can edit it so that
Hmm.
it sounds better and flows better too. And
Hmm.
then if I'm like not feeling like talking too much that day, I can just throw in a whole bunch of B-roll and like not filler B-roll, but like stuff that pertains to it. Like it doesn't have to be all just me rambling. And
Uh-huh.
quite frankly, I don't want it to be because sometimes it does end up that way too.
Yeah. So yeah, that's something I'll be working on. I already like have gotten into like wildlife video. So I'll definitely incorporate that in with the videos and um yeah, it's just kind of a cool thing. I've always talked about doing it, but like I think now I'm finally like I know how to like have balance out of nature, so I think I'm ready to add in the video, I guess.
Well, now it's on the record, so now you have like the pressure of me and everyone else, so you better deliver.
Yep. Yeah. I'm gonna do it. It's just I don't want to make in studio videos anymore. I don't. I don't care. Like,
You can
I really
you can
don't.
do both. I
Uh,
mean, I don't know. I found a way to do kind of
uh,
like both. I mean, I definitely prefer out in the field, but like I do enjoy like a nice indoor video sometimes,
uh,
like recording. I mean,
yeah, yeah. I just don't like
so
edit. I just don't like computer stuff as much anymore as I used to. Like, I'm just more in the field now, which I think is
okay.
good
No, I
ultimately.
can.
I mean,
Yeah, I can respect
uh,
that. Yeah,
yeah,
that's definitely. I agree there. Cool. Is that like
yeah.
an announcement then for you,
Sure.
basically?
Yeah, and I had one more announcement as well. Well, let's see when the podcast comes out. So, the day after this comes out, this podcast, Wednesday the 4th, I've got a presentation. It's a panel with NAMPA, North American Nature Photographers. I think it's about an hour presentation. It's me and three other young photographers. We're just going to talk about like our stories and then some conservation stuff, um, and like leaving no trace and supporting refuges, all that kind of stuff. So if you guys like to sign up for that, there's links to my own personal pages, so check that out if you want. It's free to register. You can make a donation if you want. I believe it's to some wildlife organization, but it is completely free. So I'd appreciate if any of the listeners wanted to be there, if you could sign up for that. So
Cool. I'm listening and I registered, so
thank you.
everyone else should too. Yeah, I'm stoked, man. I'm stoked to hear you and then Corey Hart, which
Oh yeah.
we both talked to, but
Yeah, Corey.
yeah,
Corey was sadly one of our lost guests. So uh, one of
hey,
our
he's not
best
lost.
episodes right there, but it just got corrupted. So
He'll be back.
he will. Yes.
I put that on the record here now. He'll be back,
Mm.
and we'll do
And
it
then
better than ever.
yeah, and it has Martin Culpepper too. He's a great wildlife photographer. Uh, I don't
Cool.
know if you've ever seen him before, but
No,
really good.
I'm
And
not
then
familiar, but
Daphne, I don't really know her, but great wildlife photographer as well. So I'm looking forward
awesome.
to it.
And
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it like an old curmudgeon, but like it's cool that like the younger crowd is like talking about important things like leaving no trace and all
Mm-hmm.
that. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
really commendable. Yeah.
Uh,
So I'm looking forward to hearing this. It's gonna be great.
Thanks. Yeah. You got any announcements?
Ooh, um, just lots of my weekends are basically booked. Talk about burnout, but uh, lots of like exhibits in new and old places. Just like stuff like that, like in Front Street in Dayton. I have one coming up here, and it's going to have like an artist reception, and then like a open to the public one called Life in the City. And I took recently some images of Dayton, Ohio, cityscapes, like I mentioned earlier. And so that's been a lot of fun to do something different and experiment. And so I actually like printed my first I did panorama of the cityscape, my first attempt, and framed it and everything, and it actually got accepted. So it's pretty awesome.
Wow.
And
Awesome.
yeah, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be a reception coming up here soon. Um, other than that, just the usual for me, just gallery stuff. I got a few festivals coming up here in the area, but like if you want to follow my socials or my website has like a calendar of events, or it's basically just a list of like all my upcoming stuff for like the rest of this year. Those will be up there too. So if you want to follow my work, I guess, and see me in person. So just more of that. On the video front, I have like a parody. I don't know, not like a parody. It's like a satirical joke video where I don't even know how you describe it. I did to you earlier, Henry, before we recorded.
Oh,
But it's like a joke video. I just want to. I made it for fun. It's not like anything serious, but it's basically me pretending to be someone I'm not. If that makes sense, I'll just leave it at that. Like I don't know, it'll upload here soon, maybe by the time this episode comes out. But
you're not gonna wait till April 1st for that.
man, that's almost like a whole nother
Yeah, I
what
know.
10 months. I already recorded it. It's almost yeah. Anyways, so that's something that'll be on my YouTube, and other than that, not too much else right now. So, but yeah, staying busy as I always do.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool.
Well,
Alrighty.
thank you
Well,
guys
thank
for
you,
watching.
everyone. Yep, and listening.
Yes. Have a. Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching the All Outdoors Photography Podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and the video version on YouTube as well. You can subscribe down below, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you.